every thought holds a vibration. It's either lifting you up or it's bringing you down.
Hi, welcome to Resonate, Conversations and Life Lessons from Rancho La Puerta. I am your host, Barry. Do you ever feel like no matter what you do, it's just never enough? Or do you compare yourself to other people and think that they're always doing better than you? Today's guest is Elizabeth Trinkaus. She is a certified life coach. She's an international speaker and retreat leader, and she has written a book called Enough Already, Yes You Are. With over 25 years experiencing helping people to silence their inner critic and step into a life of self-worth and joy, Elizabeth brings wisdom, warmth, and real tools for transformation. She is on a mission to remind us that we are, in fact, enough exactly as we are and where we are. Hi, Elizabeth. Welcome to Resonate.
Hi, Barry. So nice to see you again.
It's nice to see you, and thank you for spending some time with us this morning. I really appreciate it.
I'm honored to be here.
I'm in the habit of asking my guests, where are you today?
I am in Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
Okay, so you're 3 hours ahead of me. So
yes,
you have a couple more cups of coffee ahead than I do.
Exactly.
So you're a speaker, an author, a master coach. So I kind of want to go back, but before I go back, I kind of want to let people know, some of the things. You have a podcast called Enough Already, correct? And you have a book called Enough Already.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are, which I love the title. It's awesome. And then you're also the president, and is it the founder of Pinnacle View?
Yes.
And that is a life enrichment company. Is that what that is? Am I correct?
Yes.
Wow. So you are very busy in this area, right?
I am. I've been doing work with folks for 30 years, and I wrote the book Enough Already, Yes You Are, because somehow we all feel not enough. Mm. And I love sharing tools of how perfectly imperfect we all are and how we might shift from the voice of the critic to the encourager so we can be kinder to ourselves.
So let's talk a little bit about your journey, because you've been helping people for 30 years. So I'm guessing you might be maybe a little over 30. So
yeah,
what inspired you to take this turn, and what were you doing before you did this?
I studied counseling in college, Barry, and I grew up always literally feeling not enough, not smart enough, not pretty enough, not funny enough. And when I went to college, I got a bunch of tools. I left college and I did a lot of further graduate programs. And what I discovered is that we all have this common limiting belief that somehow we're not enough and we're supposed to do more. And I honestly thought I was the only one. It looked like everybody else had their life together, and I was the one that was like, I feel not enough here and there. And I would just try to cover it up or move faster or be funny or whatever. And it was such a relief to realize that this is a global epidemic, if you will. And it's been passed down for generation after generation after generation. And so discovering that and then realizing that there are specific tools that we can embrace in our life to remind us that we are okay with our messy lives, that we are enough, and that we build from there, that we can literally shift from the voice of the critic. In my book, I call her Doubting Dottie. To the voice of believing Betty, or doubting Danny and believing Bobby. But we can literally shift, if we're present enough, from that negative voice to the positive voice, things that we would tell each other or things that we would tell a friend. And when we do, we feel better because every thought holds a bright vibration. And so I was 1,000% excited to create a practice, and I've been hosting retreats for 30 years and love bringing people together and reminding them that they're okay. And it's a relief.
Right. Yeah. No, something you said that I found interesting is that we all have this inner critic that tells us we're not enough, we're not good enough in whatever areas it is. And you said, when did you realize that, and how did you realize that everyone is on the same page?
It was really doing studies. It was really in counseling classes, and then after college, realizing that this is such a common held issue. When I started doing one-on-ones, it's what everyone was saying to me in one regard or another. It was the theme that somehow I'm not enough, or I'm not going to be good enough here, and I have to do more. That's a result of the story that we're not enough. That if we just do more, then we're going to finally be enough. And recognizing that was just, there's a lot of freedom in that, and a lot of power to change. And I really believe in transformation.
So what allowed you to take the step to start teaching others and sharing what you've learned, your gifts?
I started with retreats and gathering people together and having specific programs that had us slow down, be present. Because again, when we're present, we can hear the story that's running the show. And then we can shift to positive, and we have that privilege within us to be able to shift and do this on a daily basis with our life, which I call being loyal to ourselves. And the more we do it, the easier it gets. It's not a flip of a switch. I wish it was, but the more we do it, the easier it gets. It's like building a muscle. And I watched people's lives transform, myself included. I use all these tools all the time. It's why I teach them. It's because I need them. I wrote the book because I need it. I need to remember that I'm enough, and it works. And that's the exciting piece. And we lower the voice of the critic. We literally calm ourselves more, and there is more room for peace. There's more room for joy. There's more room to look for miracles every day, instead of being up here and wondering why we're not okay, and let's figure out and do more.
Do you feel the belief that we're not enough is perpetuated by our obsession with social media these days?
Oh, it's worse with social media. I didn't grow up with it. And
I didn't either. So.
And I'm glad I didn't, honestly. It has amazing, it has many positive points, but no, I know it's being so much more reinforced now. And it's very sad. And I know there are people trying to help and support, which is good, but oh boy, is that making it worse.
Yeah, for sure. Now, what is your connection with Louise Hay? Because you have a connection with her, right? And I love her. I mean, she's not on this planet anymore, but I still love her.
I do too. Man, she was a spirit. I got to see her present, which was absolutely wonderful. I've met her in person. She is the real deal. Just talk about affirmations, talk about be kind to yourself. And when we love ourselves, we can love and accept others. And I did a Heal Your Life training program with this woman that Louise Hay handpicked. Her name is Patricia Crane. She actually endorsed my book. And they do these programs all over the world. And so I got certified in the Heal Your Life principles, which was absolutely wonderful. And yeah, the ripple from her life and her teachings will live on for forever.
Right. And one of the things that I know that she was really big on when I've listened to her is positive self-affirmations. But sometimes you can say it. Like she used to have you, I mean, this was one of the most challenging things that I received from her is you get up in the morning and you look in the mirror and you look at yourself in the eye and you say, I love you 3 times. And it is so hard.
Yes.
it's not just, there has to be more than just affirmations, right?
Yes. Yes. The affirmations are very powerful. And I just want to say something to that, and then
Right.
I'll answer fully. I remind my clients that just because you don't feel it right away doesn't mean it's not true. So when you're reminding yourself you're enough, but you're not feeling it, you want to keep reminding yourself. Again, you're building a muscle.
Mm-hmm.
And so you want to stick with it, because you really will feel those things. You need to do the affirmations, but underneath the affirmations are all these stories that we're telling ourselves. We all have stories running,
Mm.
and there's stories very often, things that people have said to us, a parent, a teacher, a big brother, and it's never about blaming people. It's about life. And if we are present enough, again, we can tell what's the story that's running. Why am
Right.
I working so hard in this area? Why do I feel so undeserving over here? And when we get access to the story, Barry, we have the opportunity to rewrite our stories, as you know, and so many people are have done, and the transformations. And I know that you get to see it Rancho La Puerta all the time.
Yeah.
The rewriting of the story is so empowering. And again, it's to get us to a place of recognizing our wholeness within, with all of our perfect imperfections. It's not about
Right.
having it all together or knowing what's next, or
Right.
it's not about that. It's about accepting ourselves in our essence, in our wholeness, that we are enough here, and then we get to build from that place. And that's where the affirmations come back in, where we're
Right.
just saying to ourselves things we would say to each other, things you would tell Deborah Zake, things we would
Right.
say to our best friends, that, hey, you've got this. This is okay. We can do this. Let's move forward. And that's where the affirmations are very, very powerful.
I think that when you can quiet your inner critic, I think I heard you say this before, that you can be true to your authentic self. And I hear that often, people say your authentic self, but how do you know who your authentic self is
Mhm.
with all these voices and all the things happening? What
Mhm.
are some exercises that how do people know who is my authentic self? You
Mhm.
know?
When you have the experience of separating out from the stories, and I had this happen to me, I had a great facilitator help me
Yeah.
with this, where I knew of the stories and why they were there, and that helps too. The why helps. We like when stuff makes sense.
Mhm.
So the story of not enough, as an example, or I
Mhm.
have to work for love, that was a very strong story for me.
Mhm.
So when I recognized it and knew it was a story, I recognized a story changes, but I'm still here. And
Mhm.
so I'm not that story.
Right.
And that is my authentic self. That is me without being up here and working all the time, trying to chase after these stories, make them
Mhm.
right, make myself better, work harder, move
Right.
faster. But to recognize, okay, that's a story over here, and let me look at it, and let me be me in my messiness. Life gets
Yeah.
messy.
Yeah. I mean, I was someone I interviewed said that, this being a human is very messy,
It
right?
is indeed. There's some freedom in that, isn't there?
There is some freedom in that. Yeah. Once
Yeah.
you're okay with the mess once in a while.
Yeah.
I also can you give us an example of a story that you rewrote for yourself so people can kind of see how that works?
Sure. Sure. My biggest story growing up was that I had to work for love. I had a father I was close to. He was an artist. He was a
Mm-hmm.
dreamer. He was a gypsy. He lack of direction. Um, and I was his cheerleader. His work was phenomenal, is phenomenal. He's not with us anymore. And I didn't even realize I was doing this. But when I cheered my father on, which was easy for me to do. It's like, this is great. You can do this, keep going kind of stuff. I got his attention and I
Mm-hmm.
got his love. And when we get attention and love as a kid, we are safe and we are enough. And that's just, that's how we feel as children. Fast forward, I'm 25 years old and I am dating people where I have to work for love, because my story is I have to work for love. So I'm not attracted to the nice guy over here. I am attracted to the bad boys. I am attracted to the guys that I have to prove myself, because that's the story that I have programmed in my subconscious. So I wouldn't be attracted to the nice guy because it didn't fit the story.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had the experience of realizing I'm doing this after, sadly, several relationships, realizing that that's the program that's running, and that I knew with all my heart I didn't have to work for love. And it was so strong to the point where I said, well, if I'm not in relationship anymore, that's fine, because I'm not doing it. The relationships are too tough. It's painful. Uh, it, I'm not doing that, and I'm not going to live under that belief system.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took time off from dating anybody, wanting to see anybody, recognizing that is not the story I'm living with. And it was 6 months later, I met Greg, who I'm with now, 27. We've been together 27 years. Who I literally do not have to work for love with. Like, I get to be me. I get to show up and be me. There's no part of him that is holding that space that I mirrored with the other guys. That's what drew us together.
Mm-hmm.
And when I changed that, I was able to transform my life, and it really works. In my book, I have lots of old story, news stories with different clients.
Mm-hmm.
When we recognize the stories and we choose, when we're ready, and choose to change them, get support changing them, because I had support also, coaching and some great teachers. It literally transforms our lives. I'm not
Right.
exaggerating when I use those
Yeah.
words.
Do you think a lot of our stories are subconscious? They're buried deep from who knows when?
Yes. I do. I believe we have access to them, and we can know what they are based on the choices that we're making.
Yeah. But
And if we feel
there's,
like we're undeserving, it's an old story. If we feel like we're not enough in so many areas, it's an old story. If you feel like you have to work for love, it's an
then,
old story. So you can look at what those subconscious stories are by
right.
how you're living your life, your choices, the choices that you're making.
So kind of what I'm hearing from you is that you first have to do the work so that your authentic self, knows what story you're listening to, right? And knows what you deserve. And then you look out and see what's going on in your life that's answering to that old story.
Yes. And I'll add to that, Barry, that it doesn't mean that the old story never shows up again. I just really want to
Right.
reinforce that. There are so many times when I will think I have to work for love, and then I will remind myself I don't. So it doesn't go away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very, very honest and authentic about this, that story will show back up, but you will have tools in place to switch. I call it switching the station, like you switch a radio
Right.
station when you're riding down the
Right.
road and a song comes on you don't want to hear. And that's the old story. It's like, I got to work for love here. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
doubting Dottie
Right.
within me that's saying that. And I'm like, no, not thank
Right.
you very much, not playing. And I'm listening to Believing Betty, who I can access
Right.
so quickly with practice, that says you're enough and you don't
Right.
have to work for love and your best is enough, and
Right.
just show up. We're not
Right.
working here anymore.
I think we have to be compassionate with ourselves because we those stories have been around a long, long time. They're ingrained in our thought patterns. So I guess you can't expect it just to go away overnight. You have to get new neural pathways, right?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. I see it as like a path, and you've created this groove in this path, and you're getting on a different path, literally.
Right.
And that groove is there, and it is so damn familiar, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And we want to step over here, remember to step over here, and it's okay if you have to do it 10 times, 1,000 times, it's okay.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
when every thought is holding a vibration, and if you shift from I have to work for love to my best is enough, that vibration is what you are living with. So you are
Mm,
raising your vibration. You are
right.
lightening your load, literally. So when you shift that path on that other path, you're like, oh yeah, holy, holy. This is what I want. This is how I want to feel
Mm,
within me. Don't want to be looking over my shoulder. What am I supposed to be doing? How am I supposed to be doing more? It's so exhausting, the other path.
yeah.
Familiar as can be. So if
Right.
we're not paying attention, we're going to go to the familiar. But
Right.
the work is so worth it.
Right.
It's so worth it because we feel differently. We all want to feel better. It's really what we
Right.
want more than anything,
Yeah.
is to
Yeah.
feel better.
Yeah. I feel it's so bizarre to me that sometimes we would rather be in a place that is familiar and feels safe, even though it's painful, than to the fear of making that change. And
Yes.
it can happen like that in your mind, but
So true. I have thought of that very thing.
yeah,
Yeah, the familiar is very, very strong,
yeah,
and change can be scary, and it's so worth it. You're
yeah,
so
it's
worth
yeah,
it. We all
yeah,
are. Yeah.
yeah,
My name is Steve Dudley, and I am from Seattle, Washington. I have been at the ranch somewhere between 12 and 15 times. I've come here off and on for the last 20 years, and I am here with
Chris Maher. I am from San Clemente, California, and this is my sixth visit to the ranch. And what I like most about the ranch is just how calm and beautiful. And I tend to prefer the hikes and the yoga and the Pilates classes. And Steve?
Well, as far as what I like about the ranch, definitely the hikes. They are the highlight. We always go to Alex's open here, plus some of the longer ones at times. But I can't get enough of that activity pool. Any chance I get, I'm in the pool. I've never swum in a better pool. Yeah, and I remember before it was here, it was just an open field. And when they put the pool in, I thought I had died and gone to heaven. And I met Chris here 6 years ago. I had come by myself. It was kind of a sad story, but I used to come here with my wife, and she got cancer. And even when she had cancer, she and I came a couple of times, and then she lost her fight with cancer. And I was looking for a place to come and heal, and I knew that this was just a wonderful place for that, calm and uh, healthful. And so I came by myself, and I actually met a couple of guys, or two couples, and we played a lot of pickleball together. And on the Tuesday night of the week I was here, they were sitting at a group table, and I came over and they motioned me to their table, and there were two beautiful women at the table. One was more beautiful than I had to say that. There were two beautiful women at the table.
Yeah.
And so I sat down next to Chris, who was at the head of the table.
And I was here with my girlfriend, Sandy. I was sort of at a crossroads in my life, and she had talked to me about Rancho La Puerta before, and so I had given her a call. She's from Colorado. She's an interior designer. We had done some projects together. And I said, Sandy, I'm thinking about going to Rancho La Puerta. Can you tell me about it a little more? And she said, are you going to go? She said, I'll go with you. And I was like, okay, great. So we were there together, and we met Steve on that Tuesday night.
And when I was chatting with them, Chris told me that she was an architect. And that really, I was impressed with that because my father was an architect. And I know it's not easy to become one, and it takes the side of the brain that I don't think I was born with. And so she told me the type of work she did, and we just had a wonderful chat. But yeah, that was on Tuesday.
Yeah, and I remember sitting at the table, and Sandy and I had introduced ourselves to these two couples, and there was that open seat to my right, and one of the guys started motioning, and in walks this really good-looking silver fox, and he sits down next to me. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy is so good-looking, but he had a wedding ring on, so I just thought, oh, what a nice guy. And he kept talking, and through the course of the conversation, he disclosed that he was a doctor, and that's when I realized that's where his really caring and compassionate side came out. But I figured, oh, well, there's a ring. But then my girlfriend Sandy all of a sudden says to him, well, where's your wife? And that's when he told us the story. And my heart was just hurting for him. This, lovely, kind, sweet man who had recently lost his wife. And that was just really hard to take at that point. And I saw him a few more times during the week. We never had any, I think we went on the breakfast hike together, but he didn't sit near me or anything. I was like, okay, fine.
I would like to point out, you may not remember this, but you and your girlfriend and I went to bingo with Mary.
Oh, that's right.
And
that's right.
She didn't like the fact that I sat next to a girlfriend and not her.
Yeah.
And I was helping your girlfriend picking her buttons.
Yeah, Sandy, for some reason, needed some help. So anyway, fast forward to Friday night, and Sandy and I decided to go up to the Bazaar del Sol and have a glass of wine before it's time to go on Saturday. And we were leaving to head down to dinner, and Steve was there with his friends, and they called us over, and we sat down. We had a few more drinks together, probably one more glass of wine together. And then we went down to dinner. We all sat together, and Steve and I were next to each other. We started talking. And we just had a really great conversation.
And then Chris told me the only lie she's ever told me, as far as I know, and she told me she was shocked. And she told me, I sort of believe this, that she had never given her phone number to somebody before.
It's true. I gave Steve, I had brought one of my business cards. I had written my cell phone number on it, and I gave it to him. And I never did do that ever before in my life. So this was a really big, bold move for me. So we talked a little bit more, and he at the end of the evening, he said, can I walk you back to your room? And I said, yeah, that would be nice. And we're about halfway there, and he says, can I hold your hand? And I thought, oh my gosh, this guy is unbelievable. And then we talked a little bit more, and then I sent you on your married ring.
And I was wearing this exact shirt the night we met, and ever since then, I always bring this shirt to the ranch.
That's right, you too. But now, the big news is...
a year ago, so we got, that talk was in October of 2019, and last year we were here at what essentially was the 5-year anniversary of that night, and I asked her to marry me, and I was over by my favorite pool in the world. I said, well, it was basically our anniversary. We just give each other anniversary.
Yeah, we had cards for each other.
And so I was sitting over there, and I pulled out a card, and it said, will you marry me? And she was somewhat shocked.
I was shocked.
And she didn't know what to say at first. And I wondered under my breath, just don't say no, because this is being filmed. And I talked a couple of the doctors here into filming us.
Yeah.
And I was delighted to hear her say yes.
Yes. And now we've purchased a home together in Washington, and we're both retiring at the end of the year, and we're getting married in March of next year. We'll live happily in Washington.
And at least 2 weeks a year at Rancho.
For sure.
We hope.
I hope you're enjoying today's podcast as much as I am. To learn more about our wonderful presenters and exciting weeks coming up at the ranch, go to rancholapuerta.com and check out our events calendar. Make sure to mention the podcast when making your reservation to take advantage of a special offer. Some restrictions may apply. So you've mentioned a few times tools. Can you share some tools with the listeners?
Yes, and this is my favorite 3 tools. I actually had the privilege of sharing this at Rancho La Puerta last year. Was and it's had the biggest impact on the people that I work with, and it's the power of being present and the ability to be positive. We'll talk about that briefly, and then being loyal to ourselves. So when we are present, and that is a slowing down, grounding our energy, we can hear what we're telling ourselves. If we're running really fast and working harder, we're just going with the familiar that we were just talking about. We're in that deep, dark groove that we know so well, but we don't realize we're being so hard on ourselves and keeping ourselves in the place where we don't want to be. So being present allows us to go, okay, I recognize that story of not enough, work for love, undeserving, whatever it is. And I can shift to a new story. So being present allows us to know what it is, the beginnings of knowing what it is. And then we have the ability to shift to positive. And that's, again, I like to use the doubting Dottie, believing Betty, that we have these two voices. We have the voice of the critic, every one of us. We have the voice of the encourager. And if we don't know what it is, what would we tell each other? What would you tell your best friend? Because you'll get it so fast. I host retreats, and women who've never met each other can hold space for each other so quickly and say these positive things. And then I have them bring that thing that they were telling this stranger, who's no longer a stranger, they just met. They bring it into them. Like, yes, that is your wisdom talking. And you can do that for you too. So again, that power of being present. Every thought holds a vibration. It's either lifting you up or it's bringing you down.
Right. So I grew up being told that I had the two people on my shoulder. One's the devil and one's an angel. But it's kind of the same thing, right?
It really, really is. I had that too, by the way.
But also in my religious upbringing, the angel was often an inner critic also about,
wow. Ouch.
because the angel that was always telling you how to fit into, to conform to how you were brought up and whatever church you're in, or what, that's what it was for me anyway. So it's interesting, right?
Yes.
So I love when you say being loyal to yourself, because that's something I actually really haven't heard that. And I've done lots of interviews, but when you think of being loyal, it's something I really value in a friendship. I value it in people that work with me, but it's something we don't always associate with ourselves.
I agree. I really, really do. And I add that third piece, Barry, because it's not enough just to know the story and then say, okay, I'm going to switch to that positive statement in that moment. But how are we going to create a personalized plan for ourselves? So I close every program, every retreat with, what is your personalized plan? Because you know what? If you don't have one, myself included, if we don't have one, we're going to go back to the things that we were doing last week.
Right.
So being loyal to ourselves is the willingness to say, no, I am so worthy of this. I am so worthy of feeling better, lighter, brighter, more peace. And I am going to take these necessary steps to continue this in my life. And this is how. I do a rituals retreat every year at the beach, and we literally create rituals, for personalized rituals for ourselves, because we all need reminders.
Right. I love that. What is one of the rituals you do for yourself?
One of my rituals is getting up, quiet time with coffee, and then a walk in the woods every single morning. And it doesn't have to be a long walk, but it's a dedicated, I'm going out in nature, whether, and that includes if it's raining or whatever. And I like walking in the rain personally, but it's not weather related. It is get up, be in nature. And it's really, really important. And I think the more we are in nature, the more we are ourselves, the more we calm and we ground and we can hear. And again, lower the voice of the critic. So that's one of my rituals.
And I'm guessing that quiet time with coffee and that walk in nature doesn't include headsets, podcast,
Yeah.
phones.
It doesn't. It does
Yeah,
not. Yeah.
that's
There's other
that's
times for that. There is
right.
absolutely other times for that. But I think slowing down, listening to no thing, being in nature and listening to the wisdom that comes through us. We're all these amazing, wise, intuitive beings. And we're going so fast now. And it's only going to get faster with all the technology and the phone. I mean, I get it, and
Yeah,
so it an opportunity to hear our wisdom and intuition is
yeah.
so amazing.
I
If we
think
want to do it, we don't have to.
I think we've gotten so good at distracting ourselves
Me too.
from ourselves.
Yes.
Sometimes I'll be like, how's it 8 o'clock at night already? I don't remember. I feel like it was 8 a.m. And what did I do today? What happened? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's
Yes.
crazy. Now,
I absolutely agree.
I was when I was reading about you, I want to just throw out a couple words, and I just want your reaction to the words.
Sure.
Okay, perfectionism,
There is none.
and I feel like we're all looking for it for some reason.
It's a
And if there's
game.
none, we're never going to find it.
It's a game. We will never win at that game, and no one has ever found it, or they would have let us know.
Right.
No one has ever arrived at perfection, or we would have heard about it.
Right.
It's a painful story. It is a painful story, and we're all taught it.
Yeah, we're taught it, right? I mean, I remember my parents paying me $5 for every A I got on my report card. And I get it, but it was a way of making me, I could get the A and I would memorize everything. I didn't learn anything,
Yeah,
but I got
yeah,
the $5.
yeah.
So, um, how about self-worth?
Self-worth. It is a extraordinary gift that we get to give ourselves by owning it, not
Yeah.
by I have to buy it, I have to run get it, I have to do all these things. But we already are that. We are so worthy. We
hmm
are worthy, period. And then we get to move the other stuff out of the way in order to align.
No, I'm not sure what your generation is, but my generation growing up, and where I grew up, worthy seemed that it was selfish.
Yeah.
And am I worthy of this when
Yes.
people down the street aren't worthy? And like,
Yeah.
it's a different way. Like sometimes I'm driving through my neighborhood and in San Diego, and there's this guy who's been for a year and a half living in his car. And
Mm.
I'm just like, how am I worthy of having a
Yeah.
house when this person is living in his car? How do you
Yeah.
justify all that stuff in your mind?
Yeah. It is really tough. It really is. And I believe that because people are suffering, I believe there's always going to be suffering, sadly.
hmm
And it doesn't mean that you shouldn't create for yourself. I believe that to be true, and we help where we can and when we can. But I
hmm
don't believe that it's that we cannot feel worthy because others are in suffering.
Right. And I think it's kind of maybe I've heard Abraham Hicks say this before, but you can't help others when you are not helping yourself, and you're not a
It's true.
strong, complete person. There's nothing
It's
left.
true.
If your glass is half empty, you're not going to be able to. You can only help when it's overflowing, right?
Absolutely. It's so true. And we're rewriting that selfish word also because it's okay to focus on self now.
Yeah.
Because if we are not filling our cup, if we are not taking care of ourselves, we cannot take care of others. If we're not loving ourselves, we are not able to fully love others. And
Right.
so it is a putting of ourselves first, which it is a rewriting of the definition because it is okay to focus on self and do these self help tools,
Right.
rituals that make us feel better. And then we give from that place.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, I blog for the ranch. A couple months ago, my blog was called "Self-Care is Not Selfish."
Yeah,
So I just write about things that I need to learn myself. So,
me too.
you know,
Absolutely. I am the first to tell everyone I wrote the book because I needed it. I need
right,
it. I needed it and I practice it. I practice
right.
these tools all the time, Barry.
It,
Absolutely.
it is. I mean, it is a practice. You know, anything you want to
Yes.
get good at, you have to practice. So,
Yes.
okay. So another word I have is compassion. What does compassion look like
Mm.
to you?
Compassion. I went immediately to my heart. Holding space for people
Mm,
to heal. You're very good at holding space too, by the way, Barry. I watched you with in many of your podcasts. You hold space really well. I thought of
thank you.
that before our podcast
I've
here.
just learned to shut up more.
I get it. No, you're good. You're good at it. But there's that compassionate piece. And when
hmm
I'm doing one-on-one sessions with people, I'm holding space for them to step into who they already are.
hmm
I am holding compassion. I'm holding the mirror for
hmm
you to see who you are separate from your stuff. We all have stuff.
hmm
And when you can see you separate from your stuff, you can align with that more, and that takes compassion. And I'm a big fan of compassion,
How would you differentiate empathy and compassion?
empathy, and compassion. Uh, Compassion to me is that heart space, holding space, and empathy is that understanding,
hmm
being caring about them and that understanding of what they're going through.
I had a therapist one time tell me that because I'm such an empath, that I
Yes.
should try replacing empathy with compassion. You can
In
have a compassion for another human being and not take on all the terrible things that are happening in their life onto yourself, because
Interesting.
you know you I have the tendency to put other people's needs ahead of mine many times,
Yes.
and that was
Totally
like an
get it.
alt like a I guess a toxic
No, it
empathy person.
is. But it's
Yeah,
coming from a very, very
right,
beautiful place.
right.
And again, and they're telling you to take care of you, which is
Yeah,
really, really important. Yeah, I'm very empathic also. What has
yeah.
helped me, I had a teacher tell me, Barry, that just because you feel it doesn't mean you have to fix it. And that
Oh,
was
that is a
fair.
good one.
It helped me. It has helped me for decades. Because I mean, I can feel energy going into elevators. I mean, I feel so much. And so it's a literal, dialing back my antenna, lowering my antenna a bit, knowing that I'm not here to feel just because I can. And there's times
Right,
too when you're
right.
doing the work you're doing, when I'm doing the work I'm doing, it's fantastic. But out in the world, it will take us out. And so just because you feel it doesn't mean you have to fix it. And
Mm.
it is a very helpful thing, and it doesn't mean we're not caring at all.
So if you had to this has gone really fast. I've really enjoyed
Yeah.
talking to you. What is if you had to leave our listeners with one or two messages,
Yes.
what would they be?
It would be that you are so worthy and deserving of being kind to yourself, to know with certainty that you are enough already. You are
hmm
so worthy of that. And just
hmm
really owning that and walking with that is such a gift that many of you will give yourselves.
Yeah, that's no, it's beautiful. It's not as easy as
I
it
know.
sounds, but that is beautiful. So So I appreciate you taking time to talk to us today. It's been wonderful, and I hope that I will get to connect with you at the ranch again. And so your book is available on Amazon. Can you hold it up there so everyone can see what
Sure.
it?
Yeah, it's
so
on
it's
it's on Amazon. Whoops.
oops, yeah. There you go. Enough already.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Right. And they can find you online with Pinnacle View. Is that where your
Yeah, that's
retreats
my
go from?
company. LizRetreats.com is a easy way to remember, and it forwards right to Pinnacle View, and my calendar page is there, and I offer one-on-one coaching and host regular retreats, and I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any viewers out there that have them.
And your podcast is called Enough Already also, right? And how often do you release how often do you release your podcast?
It is
how often?
sporadic. It was really regular in the beginning, and then and then as there's more space, so sometimes there's a month, sometimes there's a couple of months in between. So I haven't tied myself to having to do it on a regular basis, but I really enjoy it. I really.
Yeah, I mean, if honestly, if I had to do it without the production company, there's no way it would happen.
Yes.
I can barely turn my computer on.
Yes, it's a lot. Yes, don't ask me to edit.
Yes. Well, again, I've really enjoyed it. I love your energy. It comes right through the screen. Great. It's awesome. So I look forward to seeing you at the ranch again in the future.
Thank you, Barry. You have fantastic energy too. And I look forward to seeing you at Rancho La Puerta again.
One of my takeaways from my conversation with Elizabeth today is that social media has a really big impact on our feelings of inadequacy and that we're not enough as we are. We have to remember that people are posting all over social media, whether it be Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, and often they're exaggerating what's going on in their lives and only showing us a little snapshot of what's going on. With AI and all the apps that are out there now, you can even exaggerate your appearance to make yourself look better than you are. I remind myself that if someone is busy filming everything that they're doing in their lives for an app, they're not actually living their life in that moment. I don't want to be that person who has to go back and watch a reel to see what happened in my life and try to have the feelings then instead of having them in the moment. Elizabeth assures us that we are not alone in feeling inadequate. Everyone feels like they're not enough sometimes in their life. She also points out that it's important to sometimes explore where are these feelings coming from. Often it's something that someone said to you a long time ago or something that happened, and it's probably not true anymore. Chances are it probably was never true in the first place. I think it's important to learn to embrace enough and let go of perfection. Perfect doesn't exist. I love that Elizabeth encourages us to focus on our self-worth and show up for ourselves with compassion in our lives. Until next time, be kind to yourself. You deserve it. And hey, find some joy today. I'll see you soon.